Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to All Our Parts. I am your host, Jasmine Proctor, and I am so excited to be here. And I'm excited that you have tuned in and joined me. Like the trailer said, I want you to think of this as you have just called your friend after a long day of work and you have to just let it all out. Like you want to share a few laughs, you might share a few tears. Whether you've had a good, bad, or neutral day, I want you to think of me as the friend, your go-to friend. It is the end of June, so I wanted to wish you all a happy Pride Month, whether you are a fierce member of the community or an ally. I hope that you use June to celebrate and just be reminded of the resilience that exists within the LGBTQIA community. There has been so much anti-LGBTQ and trans legislation specifically that has gone out this year. And so, as I sit and see it, I feel so defeated. But then I am reminded of the small continuous victories that we see every day and how history has shown the LGBTQ community to be a resilient, strong one that will always fight back for what is right. And so I hope that you've taken this month to go to a few parades, a few parties, a few festivals, maybe write some legislation to your local elected officials with some friends, maybe attended some city council meetings this year. I hope that you've used this year and this month especially to not only celebrate, but think of the work that is left to be done. With this being my first episode, I kind of just wanted to introduce myself. Like I said, I am Jasmine Proctor, she, they pronouns. I do identify as a Black queer woman. I am 26. I am an only child. I'm the only one within my immediate family who does not have any siblings. Both of my parents have siblings. All of my cousins have siblings. And so that kind of required me to always find something to do. I was fortunate enough to always stay busy when I was younger, so I never felt the loneliness of being an only child. So when people would ask me, oh, do you wish you had a brother or sister? I'd be like, no. I love my alone time. There is nothing I love more than my alone time. I read alone. I go to the beach alone. I grab a meal alone. I watch TV alone. I am so deeply fulfilled from the relationships that I have in my life. But I am also so fulfilled in my relationship with myself. And so I love to spend time with myself, take care of myself, because at the end of the day, I am stuck with me. I'm going to be buried in the grave with me, myself, and I. The least that I can do on this earth is to love, support, and celebrate myself. It has taken so much time for me to like myself and enjoy myself. And so to have that kind of comfort right now, it feels wonderful. I am my own worst critic. I will be honest. No one has said anything to me worse than what I have said to myself. And so to feel comfortable and confident in a place with myself where I can say that, yeah, I just love alone time. I love what I offer myself. It's a testament to my own growth. It's not perfect. And I certainly have days where my brain, I just say, is really playing tricks on me today, is really messing with me. And so I love to lean into moments where I am recognizing my own growth and recognizing the love that I have for myself and that I willingly, intentionally give myself every day. So if you needed the reminder to love yourself, to take care of yourself today, please drink some water, take a rest, watch your favorite TV show, take a everything shower. Do what you need to do today for just a moment that makes you feel good. Was born and raised and am currently living in Maryland. I was born in Prince George's County specifically, where I attended elementary, middle, and high school in that area, and then moved out to Virginia for undergrad, where I attended Bridgewater College. It is a small liberal arts college, go Eagles, where I majored in English and psychology. Then I moved back to Maryland, where I live with my fiance in Frederick, and am currently in my master's in counseling program. I am currently working as an intern, and it is really exciting and fulfilling, and I feel like I am living out what I've dreamed for, what I have manifested. It is such a journey that I am so excited to be on right now, and I hope to talk about that more as that kind of progresses for me. I am really passionate about advocacy. As I mentioned earlier, there is so much hateful legislation that is being pushed out against marginalized groups, and I want this to be a platform and space where I will talk about those things, and I will be loud, bold, and brave about the things that I believe in and stand up for. I do believe that Black Lives Matter. I do believe that love is love. Science is very real. And so if those are concepts that you are not a big fan of, then this is definitely not the show for you. And I totally get if you stop listening right now. But this is an authentic space. This is an unapologetic space. I'm also really big into astrology and tarot. And so I will definitely probably be touching on some of those topics on the show. My big three are Sun, Moon, and Aquarius. And I am a Gemini rising. I hope that throughout the show, I can dispel a lot of the myths, or I would say incorrect opinions that people have of Aquariuses, because I think people can either really love an Aquarius or people cannot fucking stand them. And I mean really fucking like cannot deal with them, cannot have them. It's offered me so much clarity in my life. I am grateful for my tarot reader, Moon. She is not only a really dear friend of mine, but she has been reading for me for the last 3 years, and it has changed. Not an understatement, has changed my life, has changed my perspective, and has supported me in my process of releasing what no longer serves its purpose in my life. So yeah, thank you, Moon. Check her out, Into the Mystic 369 in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. It is summer season, so it is busy. If you want to get a reading with her, please book early. So how did I come up with the name All Our Parts? Actually, it was in a brainstorming session with my podcast coach, Chelsea Rife, who is absolutely wonderful and has made creating a podcast and creating the brand so much more enjoyable and so much more attainable. And I could not have figured out half of the stuff alone. We were talking about what the show was going to be about. And I said, I don't want to just niche myself into one thing. I don't want to just talk about relationships. I don't want to just talk about mental health. I don't want to just talk about advocacy. Like, I want to talk about all of it. I even pitched the name to a few friends and just asked them, I was like, hey, how does a podcast called All Our Parts sound? And they were like, oh, that sounds interesting. I was like, okay. And so as I thought about it more and thought about, one, a name that can grow with me, but two, a name that encompasses the show, All Our Parts just was a no-brainer then, because this show is about all of it. It's not about the good and the joyful, silly moments in life, but this show is going to be about also the messy moments in life. It's about conflict. It's about, I've been fighting with my partner for a week, or I am really hating my job right now and I am not feeling super motivated or creative, and capitalism has me stuck in this one spot forever. It's about religion and your relationship with religion. It's about the relationship you lost with religion and your own spirituality. I mean, I'm here to talk about all of our parts that make up who we are and make up the human experience. I am not here to proclaim myself as any expert. I am just a gal who loves to read and loves to talk and is interested in sharing her experiences with the world, and so that people who are listening can feel a little less alone in what they are experiencing. And some of the more painful things I've experienced, I have always initially felt so alone and isolated in that experience. And my initial thought is that no one understands what this feels like. No one really understands what I'm going on. Like, I'm on this lonely island by myself, feeling these feelings, and there is no one else on this earth that could possibly understand what I'm going through. For example, I remember when my parents divorced when I was around 9 or 10 years old. And that is super odd to experience at such a young age, but that is also such a lonely thing to experience when you're around so many other kids whose parents are still together. And I remember feeling so much shame and a little embarrassed about, the weekends at dad's house and needing to pack my bag and needing to plan summers and shared custody and things that I didn't really think about at the time. But as I grew up and realized, this is my life, like this is what I have to deal with, I remember just feeling so much shame around it and like embarrassed that, great, my parents don't get along, my parents aren't together, and they can't even be in the same room, and no one else can understand what this is like. And so I am so excited and thrilled to be able to offer a space where I say something and hopefully it resonates with someone and someone feels less alone on their island, and they have invited me to their island and we can sit there and experience those feelings together. This is also a show where I will be talking about those super messy feelings that we don't always weave into our everyday conversations, like feelings of shame that I just expressed, embarrassment, loneliness, jealousy, complex emotions that society tells us to either shove to the side or no one wants to put up with that. And I am telling you, I have firsthand experienced every single one of those, and I am still learning how to move through them, but also share them with other people. I think it's unfair to expect of ourselves and the people around us to not feel anger, to not feel emotions that aren't positive or even like standard sadness. Like, we are complex people and we experience complex emotions, and it should be okay to express those feelings without feeling shame towards them and kind of beating ourselves up because we are feeling these feelings. Now, I'm not saying that we need to start disclosing the deepest intimate parts of ourselves to everyone we encounter, because one, we need to preserve ourselves, and not everyone is a comfortable space to share those parts with. But what I'm saying is, especially as I think about creating deep, intimate relationships with the people around me, while I want them to revel in my success with me and celebrate my wins with me, I also want to be able to share with them my lows and share with them, I am having a shitty day and I am feeling pretty shitty about myself as well. And those two things should be able to exist together in your pretty close relationships. Get to the person if you feel comfortable to. I will not only be talking about the wonderful, warm, fuzzy feelings that I've experienced, but I'm also interested and willing and will be diving into the not so fun, very messy, very painful feelings that I have experienced and moved through in my life, and how they impacted my relationships with other people, certainly how it impacted my relationship with myself. This show is about all of our parts, good, bad, and neutral. This show will also focus on some elements of advocacy. In the world that we are living in today, I find it very challenging to just sit silent and talk about everything else besides what is deeply impacting marginalized groups in the United States. If I am creating a platform, and as I continue to create a platform, I want this to be an authentic space, but also a space where I am linking resources and encouraging people to research and speak up. This is not a time where we can be neutral and just look at things happen in the world. There are people who cannot advocate for themselves, who need loud and proud voices to speak up for them. And everyone's advocacy looks very different. Some of us have money to donate. Some of us have time to donate. Some of us love to go to protests, love to go to marches, love to be in the thick of it with people. All of that is so necessary and so welcome and so appreciated. Some of you are good writers and find most beneficial to write testimony to your local elected officials. Some of you show up to city council meetings. We need all of it. We need all of us standing together, doing our part, leaning into our strengths so that we can have effective advocacy. The show will be about feelings. The show will be about relationships, advocacy, a little bit of religion. A lot of my experience in my life is surrounded by religion and how I have grown closer to God, how I fell away from God, and what my relationship with religion and spirituality looks like now. I'll also be taking the time to deconstruct a lot of terms, I will say, that have gone completely mainstream and I think either A, are being misused, and or B, being overused. For example, I know I talked about earlier how I love spending time with myself and hanging out with myself, but I was very intentional about not using the word self-care. I think self-care is very important, but I also think it is a way that we separate ourselves from allowing others to help us in our healing and our recharging. As much as I love hanging out with myself by myself, sometimes I just need some really good friend time on the couch, and that is what recharges me, and that is what is needed of my self-care. I think self-care can sometimes be used as an isolating term. I think sometimes people use it as an excuse to isolate and not lean into the community care. Of course, we can get into the origins of that, in that we live in an individualistic society that does not emphasize enough the importance to value the healing properties of community care. I believe that we heal, we thrive, we survive in relationships with other people. We can only get so far alone, but we can go 10 times further when we have a community around us. Now, again, I love to hang out by myself, and that is a way that I recharge. However, being in relationships and community with other people has allowed me to be more empathetic, be more open to other people's experiences, be a better listener, be a better friend, and learn just the importance of not only loving other people, but loving other people the way that they want to be loved. And that the way I want to be loved may not be the way that they want to be loved. And so learning what works for other people and learning how to rupture and repair relationships. These are things that I could only learn in relationship with other people, not in isolation. I have laid out a few ways that I will be using this platform and some of the topics that I will be talking about. So I hope you will come along on this ride with me. I am so excited and thrilled, and I'm so glad I've begun recording now that I've kind of ripped the band-aid off. I'm so excited to see where this goes. And so before I say sayonara, I will always end my episodes leading to a resource or a website or a community group or an organizer who is doing amazing work. As I expressed earlier about advocacy, it is important, and I want you all to be informed and connected, and I will do my best that I can to support that. So, mapresearch.org has democracy maps. It has policy and what different states are doing policy-wise. Focuses a lot on mostly marginalized groups, LGBTQIA populations, people of color, people living in low to no income areas. It has communications. It has so much information. So if you are kind of just getting started and don't know really where to start, this is a wonderful website. Again, that's mapresearch.org. It is the Movement Advancement Project. And you can sign up for their newsletter where they share where policies are happening, what policies are happening where, and ways that you can send out communications or get involved in that area. It has been lovely chatting with you all. Please tune in for my next episode where I will be talking about my healing era. I will see you next week. Bye.